big shot, but I was never hurt. I mean, I'm just glad to be the champ.
Tommy, don't you think that this looked more like a Philadelphia sparring session at times instead of a championship match? It looked like it broke a sweat.
Yeah, very observant. Union Kane wasn't feeling that good, but Tommy Gunn would have done the same thing if Union was 100%.
100%? He fought like he didn't have a heartbeat. Come on.
Everybody knows that Kane is just a paper champion.
Yeah, what do you mean by paper champion?
Kane's title was manufactured. He never won it from Balboa.
Gentlemen, get a bar break. Union Kane is for real.
Tommy, you ever think you're going to get out from underneath Rocky Balboa's shadow?
Man, I won the title. What more do I have to do?
I'll tell you what you have to do. You gotta fight some real opponents, right?
And I beat the best tonight.
The best? This guy's a bum. He doesn't even deserve a shot at the title.
We're getting carried away. Now, Union Kane was the recognized champ. Next question.
We know the rating system can be manipulated. The bottom line is Tommy Gunn beat a second-rate fighter with so much glass in his jaw he ought to be a chandelier.
Say what you like, but this man will prove to be a great champion.
Boxing truth here. It's been a while since I talked about Terence Crawford, and just wanted to talk a little bit about him since his next fight is upcoming in about a couple of weeks in New York at the theater in Madison Square Garden. He'll be fighting, as he'll be taking on Hank Lundy, another lightweight, as the opponent. Anyways, that Rocky scene I shared before this video, it relates to this topic in boxing in general. If you guys watch the scene, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in today's boxing world. You won't see pretty much any boxing media go that hard on a fighter. It just doesn't exist. It's what makes me miss Larry Merchant more and more every day, because he was one of the very few journalists or commentators during those times, and during those times that really kept it real with fans. He spoke his mind. He told the truth. No matter who he was affiliated with, no matter what network he was tied down to, he spoke the truth. And if the network that if the network was showcasing garbage, he said it just like that. He didn't hold back his tongue. He didn't hold back. I remember that one Shane Mosley fight when Mosley fought Adrian Stone a long time ago, back in 2001. And Mosley knocked him out in the third round, and it was funny as hell. Larry Merchant was like, "So what?" He kept saying that the whole night, "So what?" And then during the interview with Mosley, he asked him, "Why should fans be impressed about this? You knocked out a C-rated fighter. So what?" And in today's boxing world, it just doesn't exist. I mean, there's some writers that keep it real. Like I like Steve Kim's writing. He tries to be as authentic as possible. Montoya, I used to read a lot of his work when he used to write for boxing. I learned a lot about PEDs because of his work on PEDs. Also, Scoop Malinsky's another writer to look out for. He's very real. When he's like another Larry Merchant type. The stories he'll write, it's very eye-opening. It just makes you shake your head about the corruption in boxing and what the bullshit that goes on inside of the sport. The behind the scenes garbage. All the crap that goes on in boxing and the shit that I know and what my eyes opened up to. I'm still amazed. I'm still a fan of the sport because, let's face it, it's a dirty business. It's a corrupt ass sport. Ratings manipulated. Judges being paid off. All types of shit goes on in boxing. I mean, it just makes you shake your damn head, and it makes you wonder why the hell you're still a fan of the sport. But I'm a boxing freak. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay into the sport for as long as I can. I mean, I'm just gonna keep watching it. I'm too hooked on it. I'm not gonna turn my back on it, even though I know the bullshit that goes on with it. That's just something I can't. I have to keep watching. I have to keep studying. I have to keep following. Anyways, when it comes to the boxing media in general, I understand. I get it. It's a lot of media had to dick ride. They had to kiss ass in order to get access to these fighters. So they can get clicks, they can get views, and they can get money. Without access to these fighters, they can't make any revenue. So they had, you have to dick ride certain fighters in order to get some interviews with them. I just, it doesn't have to be like that. Fighters don't have to be so sensitive and take criticism, so badly. There's a right and wrong way to do criticism. You shouldn't go all, you shouldn't disrespect fighters. But you can't criticize as long as it's warranted. But, fighters shouldn't take it the wrong way. They shouldn't be so... Some fighters are very sensitive to it, to criticism. And, I just wonder, how come you're so willing to go inside the ring? You can take punches, but you can't take some idiot's words who's pretty much talking shit, behind a mic or behind a computer or whatever. So, fighters shouldn't take it so seriously, criticism. Criticism can be good or bad, It gets your name out there, it gets you people talking about you. And it also can motivate a fighter to shut up his doubters and to keep him going and not lose faith in his, in his career. Now, Terence Crawford, I have been hard on him. I have criticized him. Because I know this guy can fight. He's talented. He's got a lot of skill. But what his team is doing is it just makes me shake my head. They're protecting his ass. He's one of the most protected fighters in boxing right now. 27 fights, very protected record, very safe fights. All Terence Crawford has accomplished is being a paper champion. That's all he's accomplished. He hasn't beaten the man in any division. He's a paper champion in 2 divisions, and somehow he's pound for pound. Now, how is that? How is that even possible? I mean, Ring Magazine must hate Manny Pacquiao. They got Terence Crawford rated ahead of him. I'm not big on pound for pound lists. I don't care. Everybody's list is subjective in their own opinions, but there's always that one fighter that you could agree that should be there or should not be there. And in my opinion, Terence Crawford should not be on the pound list. I don't think he's earned it yet. I mean, he hasn't beaten anybody. He's beaten solid fighters, like Beltran and Ricky Burns and Yuriorkis Gamboa, but you had to do research on his record. He fought Gamboa at the right time, coming off a year layoff. Beltran's a good fighter, but limited. Delorme's, he never proved anything. He's proven nothing as a pro. The one time he stepped up, he got knocked out, and he beat him for a vacant title. So he beat one of the most beatable fighters out there for his second world title. Then he fights a lightweight in Derek John, has no success at 140 pounds. And now he's going to fight another lightweight in Hank Lundy for his first defense of his WBO super lightweight title. And Lundy's a lightweight. Every big fight he's had at 140 pounds, he's lost. Lundy's not a bad fighter, but he's a limited guy. Average speed, average power. He's shorter than Crawford, not as fast as Crawford, doesn't punch hard as Crawford. Should be a foregone conclusion who wins this fight. And it's just disappointing that, Cameron Duncan and Top Rank continue to protect Terence Crawford. They want to build him into his next. Top Rank wants to build him into his next superstar, but he needs to fight some notable guys already. There was stories going on in the media that Crawford reached out to Victor Postol. I'm not sure how true that is. Postol's team stated they were willing to fight. They never got the call. They never received any notification that Terence Crawford wanted to fight. So it is what it is. They're not going to make that fight for the time being. It's funny how Top Rank treats some of their fighters. I mean, they're protecting Terence Crawford, but then they're throwing Victor Postol to the wolves. I mean, Postol had to wait forever for his first title shot. And then he had to fight Lucas Matisse, one of the top guys in the 140-pound division. Has big wins in that division, has been in that division pretty much his whole career. And he had to go through him in order to get his world title. And now he doesn't have a date, and Terence Crawford, he's going to continue feasting on lightweights. And I have to say this, like, I have to wonder if Terence Crawford wasn't a top-ranked fighter, would he be getting this type of hype? You know, I don't think so. Would he be regarded as pound for pound? I don't think so either. I mean, people watch my channel. I'm no Al Haymon supporter, by no means. I'm not Al Haymon supporter. I think he's bad for boxing. I mean, in my opinion, he just doesn't give a shit about his fans. He doesn't give a shit about fans. He only cares about his interests and, you know, making money. You know, he's not interested in giving fans what they want. He's proven that time and time and again. But if Terence Crawford was an Al Haymon fighter, this is my opinion, there's no way in hell he'd be pound for pound. That's just my opinion. I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, there's not one Al Haymon fighter in the pound for pound list. Now, I'm not saying there's any deserving fighters from Al Haymon stable. Let's be honest here. Deontay Wilder, paper champion, one win in the top 10. Keith Thurman's best win is Diego Chavez. That's it. Sean Porter, he beat Broner. That's it. Okay, Malnaji and Alexander. That one ain't looking good these days. So he's not on the pound list. Rightfully so. He shouldn't be there. Who else? You know, Bartholomew. Nah, not yet. Trying to think of other guys. Arizona Lara. Nah, doesn't have any big wins. So, you know, that's Heyman's fault for why a lot of his guys are not on the, pretty much none of his guys are on the pound list. And it's true. I mean, none of those guys should be there. But there's one guy on Al Heyman's stable that, in my opinion, deserves to be there, or at least deserves consideration, and that's Danny Garcia. I mean, Danny Garcia has fought, has been in big fights. He's won big fights. He's won fights when he was considered a huge underdog, but yet he's not on the pound list. Like, I don't get that. You know, how come Crawford is on the pound list? He hasn't beaten anybody where he was considered the underdog or a huge underdog, where, you know, he was counted out in fights, or he's been in big fights. No, he hasn't really had that big fight. No. I mean, Gamboa, I guess you could say that's his biggest fight, but Gamboa wasn't even the best super featherweight when they fought. And then he was fighting him at lightweight. He hadn't did shit at that weight. So, I don't know. I don't think he would. I don't know. He's, you know, he's on HBO, and they're a great hype machine, and they can really build a fighter's name up. And I'm not hating on Crawford. It's just, you know, I call it like it is. You know, I'm being realistic about this. You know, I mean, most people will agree he shouldn't be on the pound list, but yet Danny Garcia gets no recognition, even though he's done some things in his career. But, you know, he's affiliated with Heyman. He fought Raul Salka, so he committed the ultimate crime, and is being held against him now. But I don't know. Danny Garcia's career has been better overall, but Crawford's getting the promotional push, and that's because he has Bob Arum behind him. He also has HBO behind him. You know, Bob Arum has proven to be able to build stars. HBO has proven to be able to build stars. Heyman has not, and he's not. Heyman has not proven to be able to build superstars. He hasn't been in the game long, since 2002. Vernon Forrest was his first client, but his biggest client has been Mayweather. But Mayweather was already tailor-made for him. He was already a superstar when he got him, or he was already a big star on the verge of superstardom. So, his track record ain't impressive at all. He hasn't proven to be able to build any superstars or pay-per-view stars. So he has a lot of work to do. He needs to start, building, getting some promotional push behind his fighters. But, he tends to be in the shadow. He wants to be in the shadows, and maybe that works in the music business, but it shit don't work in boxing. It's not helping his fighters out at all. A lot of his fighters have lost. Stock has dropped. And that's just the way it is. Terence Crawford, bro, man, you need to start finding some real opponents. The Crawford fanboys will say, what he's got to do. He's showing the skill. He's showing his fighting ability. He needs to fight some real opponents. That's all. He needs to fight some world beaters if he wants that recognition that he truly deserves. If he's getting some recognition, he's on Pound for Pound. He's on HBO. HBO's all in on this guy. But he needs to start fighting some names. I mean, come on, man. How long are you gonna protect this guy at Top Rank? After this fight with Lundy, I want to see some big names. I want to see a Pervanikov. I want to see Victor Postol. I want to see either Lucas Matisse, whatever. I don't mind a Matisse fight. Who else? Even Adrian Granados. Somebody better than lightweights. Fight some real 440 pounders. I mean, that'd be a start. But he's got to take care of this assignment with Lundy, and I'm not interested in that fight. But I will watch it. I watch almost. If I get a chance, I can watch almost everything. But depends on how interested or intrigued I'm in. But I already know who's going to win this fight. But I will. It's HBO. I will watch it. I'll study it and see how Crawford looks. But Top Rank wants to match him with Pacquiao. He's got to be in a big fight before he fights Pacquiao. He has to be. He can't fight another lightweight or another no-name guy if he wants to fight Pacquiao. And honestly, I don't think he's ready for Pacquiao. That's why Top Rank didn't make that fight, because they know he's not ready for Pacquiao. Honestly, I think Pacquiao would knock him out had they fought in April. But it looks like Top Rank, they thought the same way. They don't think Crawford's ready. They look at the Gamboa fight. He got rocked. What would Pacquiao do if he landed a big shot? Who hits a lot harder, and he's much stronger than Gamboa. So they went with Bradley. They were willing to sacrifice Bradley, because I see Pacquiao beating Bradley again, but I need to see him train. So far, he's looking good. But, Crawford, he does have a bright future if he keeps winning. But this Top Rank needs to put him in a big fight. Put him in a risky fight, a 50-50 fight. Victor Postol will be that fight. If he trashes Victor Postol, I'm a believer in Terence Crawford for sure. If he was able to trash Victor Postol, but I don't know. That's a 50-50 fight. That's a tough fight. Top Rank knows it. But they promote him as well. But, they have more upside with Crawford than they do with Postol. Postol's a Ukrainian guy with no fan base. Not much they can do with him. Crawford at least has a fan base in Nebraska, so they can build something from that. But it's still hard, but it won't be as hard as trying to build up a Ukrainian guy like Postol. Anyways, Crawford will be back on the 27th. Main event, HBO against Hank Lundy. Showcase fight. He should win relatively easily. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.